is George Zimmerman killing Trayvon Martin, an unarmed Stanford teen carrying a bag of Skittles and an Arizona iced tea. I thought it was important to look at other cases in which individuals who previously had a desire for a career in law enforcement were denied application into the force because of psychiatric reasons, and who later went on to kill. Very similar to what happened with George Zimmerman. Although I'm not convicting Mr. Zimmerman of murder, Mr. Zimmerman has already acknowledged killing Trayvon Martin, so that's not a disputed fact. One very notorious case similar to Mr. Zimmerman's in terms of backgrounds of the individuals involved was a case involving Antionette Frank, a New Orleans police officer who joined the force in 1993. Similarities between a young woman wanted to become a police officer. However, she failed the psychiatric examination twice and lied on her application. And the similarities between George Zimmerman, who also applied to become a police officer and failed the psychiatric examination on his test. The young woman that I'm speaking of is Antionette Frank, a New Orleans police officer. Yes, they hired her, even though she lied on several portions of her application and failed 2 portions of the psychiatric examination. Ms. Frank hired her own psychiatrist to give her an independent evaluation, which she took to the New Orleans Police Department, and rather than oppose her in court and be accused of violating her civil rights, they chose to hire her. Yes, they hired her. Mrs. Frank went on to murder her partner, and 2 other individuals in an armed robbery, which she committed with her drug-dealing boyfriend, who used to drive the squad car. Yes, this is Miss Antionette Frank in New Orleans, hired in 1993. So, why do I bring this up? What would have happened had George Zimmerman been hired as a police officer? We could have very well have had a situation like what happened with Antionette Frank in New Orleans, which was quite serious. She killed 3 people for $10,000 and went back to the scene of the crime when she heard that it had been reported on her police scanner to kill the other 2 living witnesses. So she was a pretty in the head. Antionette claimed to have been continuously molested and impregnated over the years by her father. After being convicted of this crime, her father was found 6 months later decomposed with a gunshot wound to the head underneath her house, where he had been staying when he disappeared and was reported missing by Antionette Frank. So I would be very cautious to make this any kind of a racial issue and make this about what it really is. An individual who is so bent on power, on gaining some kind of control over victims, over others, over individuals, over family members, over whomever, that they want to get into that position, either in government, police departments, our churches, your marriages, anybody who wants to exert a sense of control and power to the detriment of others should be stopped, no matter what race they are. So the Trayvon Martin and the George Zimmerman trial, or the state of Florida versus George Zimmerman, will not be so much about race. That portion of it was about justice, due process, wanting to answer for taking the life of another, whether you're found guilty or not guilty. But there's something much deeper in the psyche of a George Zimmerman or an Antionette Frank, that when you give them a gun, they find it okay to murder anyone. I'm a Sassy Business.